Good morning and welcome to episode 4 of Will You Review My CV? I'm your host, Alan Wozni, and today I want to walk through an example of the informal advice that I had provided to a job seeker on 4th of June 2019. So just over 2 years ago. By that point, I had been providing such advice for almost a year because I started in August 2018. So my records indicate that this episode, this job seeker is episode number 193, or job advice or career advice number 193. The job seeker, his name was Nikitesh Soni, and he was based in Indore, or if I get that, if I incorrectly pronounce that, Indore, India. A recent review, I went to his profile on LinkedIn, and it looks like he's relocated to Pune, which is another city in India, and he's secured a role with Accenture. It is likely that in 2010, or sorry, it is likely that his 2010 computer science degree, or computer science engineering degree, inspired me to compile and send my suggestions on 4th of June 2019. And I should point out I was still living in Doha, Qatar at that time. So Nikitish's computer science background and location in Dora, India, I should also say, that inspired me to write and publish my third article on LinkedIn, and I titled that one "Open Spaces." And that will be, I titled that. I published that article on 19th of July, 2019. By that time, I'd already relocated to Canada and was living in Red Deer, Alberta at the time, temporarily before I moved to Calgary in September of 2019. That article will be the focus of my next episode of Will You Review My CV? So I now want to switch. I want to go over to screen share, and I want to walk through the post or the career advice that I had given back in June 2019, and just gives you an indication of kind of what I go through or have go through to give advice. And this was 193. I'm up to number 420 now, so a little more refined of how I approach this. But let's go screen share, and then we can see. Okay, so share. So I'm going to share the screen here, and if you look at, this is what was posted. Nikitesh posted. I don't remember exactly the details how I came across his post, but I do have a lot of contacts in India, or based in India, and so even by that time, a lot of Indian nationals were working in Qatar and the Middle East. So it probably just, I came across the post somehow. He's not a contact of mine. He still is not a first level contact. So here's what he had to say: trying to find part-time job to supplement retirement. If all goes well, till they ask what year I graduated from high school. If nothing changes soon, we'll try to return to Walmart or Lowe's, where I was employed in the past. I'm going to look at his degree. You look at his degree as a computer science, and that's good. I first hit it I see my first response. I first hit it with this. Hi, Nikitesh. India's technology innovation is well known globally, which AngelList highlights in this 2018 article. And this for me, it's a classic. Bengaluru has the highest concentration of e-commerce startups in the world, with 1 in 6 companies in the city operating in this space. And I think that's a key setup for, if you're into tech, you'll understand the analogy. It's very innovative in India. And it's unfortunate that not everyone can recognize it's a big country, billion plus individuals. So it's fighting for the tech talent. Um, it's no surprise people fight for tech talent because there's a lot in India. But anyway, my next point of attack was, let's look at AngelList. AngelList at the time, pre-COVID, this is way before COVID. Pre-COVID was, I think, sometimes up to 30,000 roles. Here it shows 24,000 roles on AngelList. So this is mostly tech roles, but non-tech. There are non-tech roles that slot into that as well. India itself, dominant number. I think that's roughly a fourth of the total roles posted on AngelList. It it probably varies today, but 1,000 in Delhi, 829 in Bengaluru, 495 in Pune, which is where he is today. Very tech oriented city. I don't even know. I wish I knew the population of Pune, but Indore, even a little city. And it's only, I didn't even know about this country or this city until this post, until I came across Nikitish's post. And so I had to figure it out. I had to figure out where's Indore. They have 53, they have 53 tech roles or open roles, or at that time they had tech open roles. So as I say to every virtual law, anyone I refer to AngelList, consider setting up your profile. Just set up some agents. Find for roles that you're interested in. Roles pop up from time to time that say remote okay, and India's a big country, so the working in one city is not necessarily going to make you mobile to move to another. So remote okay, that still exists today, and as everyone knows, remote work from home is very important these days with COVID and so forth. And I just say here, startups may not always use traditional recruiting sites. When these startups grow, they tend to need experienced staff. So he has pretty experienced. If you go through his profile, he writes as business analyst, but he's a computer guy. He understands the computer side and the software. And I literally write it here. Your 7 years of business analyst expertise should be a benefit to startups, particularly when they combine learning and when you combine learning and finding SaaS. And I go back to the SaaS applicable to his job area. I don't know. I think I've given some general, and I've gone through SaaS knowledge and saying how easy it is. And I've said this before, and I'll continue posting this. You don't need an IT degree. You don't need you don't need to be the IT department, which he is. He is an IT guy, Nikitesh. But learning it, you don't have to attend classes. You don't have to be in university. You just learn the SaaS. So I'm going to skip down. So you'll notice here, this is post 2 of 6. So I had to kind of plan this because and I don't know if I mentioned this before, but LinkedIn, each time you reply to a post on LinkedIn, you have 1,250 characters, not words, but characters. So you have to count. You have to go up and count. So if I just select here, just to give you an idea, go to my tools, I look at this religiously to make sure my post. So this has 282 characters. It's that little piece that I highlighted. So you have to plan that post. You can't just willy-nilly throw out job search advice or advice. You need to plan it. So this is post 2 of 6. And so I've basically prompted him to go look. I'm going to do this again. If you recall from my earlier, will you review my CV? Probably the first 100, the very first 100, I just tried to fit it all into one post, one response, 1,250 characters. So you can't say a lot. So you end up watering it down and you just punch through what you can, hoping to get their attention, hoping you can help them. I'll just create multiple posts to try to fit in what's relevant to you. So Nikitish, this is post 2 of 6, SaaS and job search. So he's worked with a couple of companies, Advanced and Codian, and that's still, I think it's relevant to, and I look at the companies he worked for. So I did a little drilling down when I was looking how to respond to him. And I said, I think SaaS applicable to data management and digital marketing based on his experience, based on the companies he was working for, would be most relevant. That may vary depending on. So like I did in the previous post, and I showed some of the digital marketing in episode number 3, I looked at the digital marketing software out there. These are some of the samples I had put together from the funding announcements I looked at. I didn't give them that explanation here. I think I do later. So look at SaaS applicable to data management, archive social, crypto numerics. They're out of Toronto. I've pulled that example many times. Data Coral, GeoSpock, OmniScience, SkyMine, Telium. Helps customers like Facebook and IBM manage customer data. These are data management. People want a degree in data science or data analytics. This is a good start. That space has grown tremendously over the last couple of years. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. Post 3. Hi, Nikitish. This is post 3 of 6. I've already let him know that I've already posted 3 in case he doesn't catch this one. So the digital marketing SaaS, and in episode 3 of Will You Review My CV, I mentioned Tiled, Factual, Video Amp, ManyChat. I think I mentioned these. I think they're relevant. The relevancy comes from provides SMEs with a platform to leverage messaging apps. This comes from his prior experience. I don't know his exact talent or knowledge of these working day to day, and so, without having actual dialogue or chatting with him, it's hard to know. Anyway, SaaS learning. Most SaaS can be ready to learn. Download the free demo, subscribe to the company newsletter, follow the company on LinkedIn or Twitter or Facebook or Instagram. And again, general kind of blanket it. But this is something I didn't in the last my last outreach or last response. I didn't actually go into how to reach out to the startups on LinkedIn. And the sequencing of this is probably wrong because I should have given them more ideas maybe on Gary, and you see down below here, Gary Vaynerchuk. I mean, outreach to startups. I'll go into this in more detail later. I'm not gonna belabor this now. Gary Vaynerchuk introduction. I I I religiously give people, I'd say, go to Gary V. Then I was 53. I started listening to Gary V in March of 2018. And he talks a lot about branding and awareness and using social media and posting and content and entrepreneurs and patience and all that. So I probably would have changed this post had I. He was in. So Gary Vaynerchuk was in Dubai in November. And Dubai has a lot of Indian nationals, both uh, kids that have grown up in Dubai and their parents have moved there 20, 30 years earlier. That literally huge Indian community. And so I think that's the relevance to putting the Gary V's visit to Dubai. I didn't say that, and it's again it's a bit of a weakness in this post. But here I say here, Gary V. Hi, Nikitish. This is post 4 or 5. Gary Vaynerchuk repeatedly talks about paying attention to the open spaces and consumer trends. Gary uses that to understand how to reverse engineer his strategy to do the opposite to what everyone else is doing. In my view, there's such an open space opportunity in India. And this, I, I just compared what was I saw the last couple of years, previous to this post, the last 2 years, I'd say I'd been looking at the Indian landscape for a while and venture capital funding in that space. And it started. It started when I saw I think it was the Canada Investment Pension Plan or CPB Invest Board invested in a company called Bijus, and they participated in a $500 million offering for Bijus, which is online education or ed tech. And so that got my attention. I think that was December 2018, and I really started to focus on the India venture capital investment tech space from that point. So here I just laundry list, going back to the article I posted at the post one, Bengaluru being the highest concentration or 1 in 6 in e-commerce space. But this is these are some of the startups that were hitting the market back then, 2 years ago. Freshworks, Flipkart, Snapdeal, Chumbak. That's e-commerce. Flipkart, by the way, is always constantly in the news. And I think last week they received some funding, new funding, as a precursor to their, I think they're going for IPO. FinTech, Paytm, Paytm. I don't know how you pronounce that. Paytm, I say, cash free, FT Cash, Razorpay. Razorpay, Razorpay recently reached the $1 billion market cap or unicorn level. I don't think they were that big then when I put this here. Food delivery, Swiggy, Big Basket, Grofers. These are just a few. There's more now in that landscape because food delivery, COVID has been very important. Education, I mentioned Bijus. They're in Bengaluru, Emiratus, Hopper. There's a few more in the edtech space. I'm not going to list them here. Ride sharing. These are all pretty popular trends today. This was 2 years ago. So to put that into context, they were growing trends already. Ola, Cardeco, Yulu. So on that landscape, looking at the tech landscape as a whole, what I did was I compared what I saw going on in the US and North America and Europe, and I compared that to the Indian. So angel list / startups that I knew. Again, this isn't empirical evidence, but there was this opportunity where I feel is the open space in India. I don't know if it's the same today as it was 2 years ago, but I think the two trends I saw that in North America were the real estate and cybersecurity. So if I compare the total India startups in that space, 125 startups were in real estate and only 14 in cybersecurity. Again, not empirical, just is based on angel list. Post 5 of 6, boundary score. So I'm kind of giving now, I want to give the analogy to the how that open space exists in India. So I compared it to cricket. As I understand, when a batsman scores 4, he finds the open space to go beyond the boundary. Of course, this compares to the 6 runs for clearing the boundary without touching the ground. So the SaaS boundary. I just talked about my review of the tech landscape and TechCrunch, Crunchbase News, UK TMP, UK Tech News, FinSMEs, and Strictly VC, which I just compared. I should also point out I was working for about 6 months for real estate for a cybersecurity startup called Uncloak in the UK. So I'd already looked at that landscape from a different lens on the global landscape in cybersecurity. So it wasn't that I was coming from a point of I didn't understand cybersecurity, but for real estate, I just gave some examples of some of the tech companies in real estate SaaS, and then I went on to cybersec. Now, I'd been focusing on cybersec since about October 2018 when I was working with Uncloak till about the following March of 2019. So by this point, I'd already worked 6 months, and I have a massive list of cybersecurity plays. So this is just a fraction. Alcid, CrowdStrike, Illumio, LivingSec, Paladin, Respond, Ziguro. So these are just a few handful, just to give him a taster for him. So what did I say? What's next? In my view, you have a few options. Learn the SaaS to be a consultant. Learn the SaaS to represent. So you could represent them, official representation, and find a tech partner in India. SaaS consultant. Imagine all the small businesses in Indore. How many do you think could benefit from the marketing data or cybersecurity SaaS or cybersec? What about real estate? There's an Indore has a population of 2 million plus. What if you became an official rep for one or more of the SaaS listed above to find local customers for them? Work weekends and nights until you build up your clients. But I guess he wasn't working, he was looking for work. So that could be just work it. Tech partner. What if you approached the number 13 or number 21 software engineer from one of the big Indian tech names listed on post 4 above? You create your own real estate or cybersec SaaS. And I wrote at the end, feel free to DM me, have fun researching. I'm going to stop screen sharing now and I'm going to finalize this session today. I fast forward to 2021. What would I have done differently? How could I improve upon these recommendations? A couple of things. Looking to Gary Vaynerchuk. Gary V has a concept called the high school party concept. And what that concept is back in high school, kids who threw the party could go from a D on the social scale, go from a D to a B or an A by hosting the party. You have to invite all the friends from neighbor. Nobody knows him, but he or she, but mostly he's in my high school days. That high school party concept really resonates with me. So taking that concept, and I think Nikitish's experience as computer science and his business analyst, you take that concept of a high school party and you go to Clubhouse. You create a chat room to invite people, all those e-commerce, those tech plays, the Razorpay, the Flipkart, bring those executives onto Clubhouse and start talking about all things tech, just anything to do with tech, the tech landscape in India. If it was 2021, how did get them to talk about the current, what's happening in India today, right now, the second lockdown, they're really, Mumbai pretty much closed. Delhi's has suffered a lot. How is that implied? How's the tech landscape been impacted by COVID? And just bring people to talk on the Clubhouse and talk about issues of importance to them. Going back to that outreach on LinkedIn, I think I would expand a little bit more and give him examples of tech, how to outreach, how to reach out to the tech founders in India and across the globe. And if I could have the time to coach Nikitesh or anyone like that, I would actually spend through this and show through screen sharing how to do that effectively and efficiently over and over, not just 2 or 3, but 50 to 100 to 120, outreach as many as you can. Posting articles on LinkedIn, create awareness for his skills. I mean, he wrote that he wanted to go back and work at Walmart or Lowe's. Possibly he's now working for Accenture, blue chip name, well-known consulting field. It probably took him, it looks like it took him 6 to 12 months to get there. But in the meantime, I would have suggested post articles on LinkedIn, let everybody, people awareness, um, great awareness for what you can do, your skills. I don't know what he could have posted, but if you talk and coach and you advise one-on-one discussions, you could probably find that out. And the last thing I would say is take the time to connect with like-minded individuals, whether it's on LinkedIn, Twitter, Reddit. Reddit is, as people know these days, quite hot with the meme stocks. But Reddit is also a suppository of just tech people. It's a lot of the groundings of Reddit. Alex Ohanian founded Reddit or co-founded Reddit, but there's a lot of the roots, the grassroots of tech developers and so forth. Discord. Get on Discord channels, find the Discord channels, and other avenues where like-minded, on say on Twitter, where there's like-minded coders or business analyst types like himself, and connect with them. Let me conclude. The next time I'm asked, "Will you review my CV?" I will immediately respond with, "What steps? What steps? What steps are you taking to let others know about your talent and background? What presence do you have on social media? How about expanding your connections to include like-minded individuals in your city, across your country, and across the globe?" Have a great day and stay safe.